This is a totally unrelated question that I have for each of you that I kind of want to know the answer to. What, like, not as a kid necessarily, but shifting from childhood to adulthood and like taking work seriously, what was like the ideal job that you wanted to get into? I'm curious.
Um, well, I've definitely gone through a very long change, and a lot of them, um, through the time before I started my first year of college to the end of it, where I ended up dropping out of college, to the little couple years of limbo to where I am now. Um, like originally, I was leaving high school, um, actually committed to be going to Columbia College in Chicago for audio engineering. Um,
Wait, but which one though? Because there's two of them.
the one in the South Loop,
Okay, so proper Columbia College, not
proper
not the
Columbia
one I go
College,
to.
proper Columbia College. Yes. So originally I was gonna be going there for audio engineering, and I love her to death, but my grandmother ended up taking me to a, I don't want to call an audio engineer who is no longer active in the industry. Ended up taking me over to his house, and I got to speak with him for a while, and he kind of got me disheartened on the pursuit of it, which part of me regrets, but also I would not be where I am now if I had continued down that path. So after I ended up dropping my enrollment there, I ended up going for a year in UW Milwaukee, with intent in criminal justice, thinking, oh, analysis, criminal investigations, that sort of thing, doing analysis on photo, video, and other um, stuff like that. Then sort of life happened, and I ended up taking it, leaving college and dropping out. Um, then I had my limbo mode, working in the bar, like, oh, well, where do I want to go? Eventually, I ended up leaving, and now I'm working in retail, which actually is very funny because it was originally going to be a placeholder for while I waited on a call from the electricians union. And now I'm in a management position, loving my job, and set on progressing higher. So that's kind of what's happened.
Good for you, man.
Taylor,
That
thanks.
got heavier than I
All
thought it
about
would.
them, all about them goals.
Hey, you know what? I'm okay with it.
What about you,
So
Alex?
who wants to go?
Who wants to
Alex,
follow
go.
that?
Yeah, I mean, I got a long story, but I mean, it's just I'm doing what I want right now.
Good.
I feel like the moral of the story is you might go in with a plan, and that plan might fall apart, but in the end, you might
That's
find
even better.
happiness.
The Lincoln Park
You might
reference.
find happiness where you least expect it.
Yeah, but like that's the most important thing, which is like as you said, like you love where you are right now, and that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be in Sokan if my plan hadn't been derailed. I mean, like I said, I started college as an 11th grader, right? Like I was the super hyper overachiever, straight A student all the time.
Doesn't
Um,
surprise me at all.
no, yeah, I got a full ride scholarship to the University of Alabama. And by the time I got there, I was almost a junior based on my credits alone because I had so many either AP or college credits. So first year freshman on campus, credit wise, almost a junior. And I like had this like super aggressive course schedule. By the end of my first semester, I was already working in undergraduate research programs. I was already working with the Model UN team. I was um, honestly having a really good time with it too. Um, Something around the holidays rolled around, and I got to the point where I couldn't get up out of bed anymore, and I was sleeping for 18 to 24-hour stretches at a time. Um, we didn't know what was wrong, and I wound up having to drop out around midterms. So I never even finished my second semester of like real college. My parents had to come get me. Um, because it turns out that I have POTS, which is postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. For those of you with medical schooling, basically it means that blood pressure don't work, machine broke. Um, and that's something that's had some deeper ramifications that I still haven't quite fixed yet. So I'm still on medical leave 2 years later. My scholarship and degree are hopefully still waiting for me, but my original plan was to actually try and test into the um, young professionals program with the actual United Nations, to go to New York and test in and see if I could work there to help facilitate global politics and arranging aid for various refugee systems and things like that. And now I don't know if I'll be able to work in foreign service because I don't know if I'll be able to leave the country ever again. But I'm here, and I'm still probably going to pursue my degree in anthropology, but we're going to see where it goes.
That's really interesting.
Nice.
I'm just like learning a little about you guys now. I just want to
Yeah.
know more about your lives.
That was this whole bit. It's
Yeah.
working.
That's all it is.
How has your audio quality gotten worse, Alex, over the course of this podcast?
That's my secret cap. I'm always at terrible audio.
What?
He really is, though.
Oh,
Like, we'll
man.
be trying to do an officer meeting, and he'll just like fade in and out of existence, so we have to yell at him every couple of seconds. Like, what did you
Yeah.
say?
I fucking hate myself so much. Like every time someone brings it up, I want to like.
You're fine now.
I want to die.
You're okay now. You sound great.
Yeah.
Who wants to go next?
Fuck it, I'll follow up.
All right, Vicky.
Yeah, so I didn't really have a plan going into high school, and then in about ninth grade, I kind of was just like, I like playing video games, so I'm gonna try and do game development. And then game development led into actually me having the PC I have now. So this guy is like 12 years old now, but like
Oof.
yeah, I made the mistake of trying to learn with well, Unity was fine, but then I used the Unity engine, and then I used the Cry engine and started just making little indie things, and then broke my computer for a good period because I used the Cry engine a little too much for what my computer could handle. Um, but that it translated into a love for just computer science, and so I started just doing that sort of stuff on my own. I made like there was a program or two that I made that helped like elementary school kids just learn how to do basic addition, subtraction, and other things, but it was like in hangman format, so every question you got wrong gave like a hangman thing. And so that was just like a little tidbit of things I did. And then so I went to college for computer science, and then at about the 2 year mark, I got to a point where I was disliking the courses itself, even though I like it just detracted from why I liked computer science in the first place. So now I'm doing economics, and with like a minor in. I actually already finished the minor for technological entrepreneurship, because the goal was never just to like to be a code monkey, so to speak, just to like actually spend time and create something of value was really my goal. And it still is, but I'm taking a different route towards it because doing computer science, like I interviewed at Facebook, I think December or November of last year, and it was dehumanizing, like the interview process. And sure, maybe I just got a bad recruiter, but it didn't feel like I was being valued for my person. It was being valued for purely my ability to code, and which was fine because it's a corporation. They need to do what they got to do, but it's not something that I wanted to do. So my focus now is just working on little projects on my own, trying to get something off the ground again. I had 2 projects in the past that time and effort got put into, but because of one thing or another, funding is like the real big issue. Because as a college student, especially, anyone who's investing has the big issue of you're still a student. What guarantee do we have that you're going to have 110% in this project while you still have course loads and all that stuff going on? So quarantine was interesting because now that I've switched into economics, I already was in like new water as far as like finding an internship and all that. And then quarantine happened, and then I was just like, and then lots of doors started closing. So now I'm just focused on, expanding my portfolio while I have the free time, learning new things, and applying what I do now. So that's where I am right now. And what I'm aiming to do is eventually, hopefully, just continue leading something on my own.
It's awesome. That's really interesting that you interviewed at Facebook. I feel like that's there's a whole bigger story there, but we don't have to dive into that. What about you, Kenny? Tell us your life story.
Well, in stark contrast, my current career goal is to be a coding monkey. Um, it wasn't always that. Growing up, I had like 10 million different things I wanted to be: doctor, lawyer, game developer. Uh, if it's a profession that's well known, I probably want to be it. Um, when I was around 12 years old, I started playing this browser Star Wars RPG game that was kind of still in development. Um, and I got to talking with one of the devs. It was like, how do you do this? It's like, do you really want to know? If you really want to know, learn this, and this. Um, and he basically just gave me a list of web languages, web developing languages for me to learn, which I learned in about a year. Um, but I didn't really stop there. I decided to continue learning more languages to branch out from web developing to more software developing. Uh, and I, while I was applying for high school, I tried to pick a high school that had a tech program. Uh, the one I applied to, while they advertised that they did, ended up not having one until I was in 12th grade, and by which time I already knew almost everything that they were teaching. So just got a straight A in that class. Went to college for computer engineering rather than software developing. That was a big mistake. Ended up dropping out of the college I was in, and spent almost 4 years in retail until uh, April of this year when I decided to go back to a college, an online college for software developing. That's just where I'm at right now.
That's cool. So the reason I ask these questions, and I hope it's relatable to people. Personally, I always find it really interesting to hear people's stories about like where they're at in life and where they want to go. Um, and like with this kind of thing, with these video podcasts and online content, like it's generally speaking there forever. It's someone has it no matter what you do. Um, so it's kind of like an interesting point in your life that is forever recorded. And I feel like in Sokan, we have age ranges that are all over the place. We have people who
Yeah.
are older or younger, but like I think a distinct majority of our of the people in Sokan are around college age, or slightly younger, or slightly older. And I feel like that's the thing, that everybody has a somewhat similar story, that their plans didn't end up being what they thought they would be. And I find that interesting about people around our age range, that like you always think you're going to do one thing and then you end up doing something else. And I feel like everybody has that story. So if there's a message to this whole content thing that we've done, follow your dreams, man. You'll be all right. You'll make it. You'll make it somewhere one day and you'll be happy, hopefully.
Shit's fucked. Sometimes your shit gets fucked, but it's okay.
Just keep pushing through it.
It's technically content of life.
Yeah, absolutely.